Happy New Year! If your feed is anything like mine, you're seeing a ton of stuff on people who launch new businesses and people who were able to finish that collection and sew a ton of garments throughout the year. And if you're not one of them, I want to talk to you. A lot of us have the degree, we have the skills, but we just don't have the output. And that comes a lot from our own hangups or our own obstacles. The way I'm looking at 2026 is just another opportunity to show up for myself, to show up daily, even when nothing's happening, to show up weekly when I forget about it, and to show up monthly, even if I have to. 2025 started with me heavily studying for the LSAT, taking it and applying to law school. And then, in a surprise to no one, I took a quick pivot back to what I actually like to do, which is being creative and actually trying to make a business out of it. I think 2025 taught me that I have all the skills to get started. I have a portfolio. It's not the portfolio I want, but it is a portfolio of work I've done, people I know, and things that I've created. If I want 2026 to be better than 2025 as far as output, then I need to be actively designing on a regular basis. I might still have a couple side quests here and there because I do like soap making and I do like to have a little fun with crafts. But I feel like my core measure of success for 2026 is definitely going to be in the design realm. My 2025 wrap up would look like one or two alterations assignments that I assigned myself because my friends needed it and my kid needed a new shirt, and one custom client that came in at the end of the year that I'm going to wrap up here this month. So for 12 months, I have basically an alterations assignment and a custom project under my belt. That's two things out of 12 months. So at the end of 2025, I actually picked up a lot of steam. I was able to build out some vision boards, figure out where my head's at when it comes to my collection, and also really think that I can make a collection. I think that was the biggest hurdle I had to get over, was thinking that for some reason or another, I couldn't make a collection. If I can sew the seams, if I can make the patterns, if I can produce designs, then I can make a collection. The process of making a collection is notoriously long. So especially as someone who is doing all the work, it might take me a couple years. Even when we're making a collection in a huge corporation, it can still take a couple years. It can take the entire pattern making department and the entire design department, and accounting has to be involved, and there has to be a sourcing manager. That used to be my job. And those things take time in a corporation. So putting the onus on yourself that you haven't made it and you haven't made a collection when you're a single person who has to do all those different jobs, it's just unreasonable. So I'm completely comfortable if my collection takes a year or two to get together. So far, this whole season of fall and winter, I've really just focused in on the concept and the theory and really the research component to things, and making vision boards and sketching and really getting back into the parts of design that I missed. I personally do not like to sew, and this is actually very common amongst people who sew. Sometimes sewing just ain't it. We want to see the end product. I like pattern making and I like the end product. The whole in between, boring as hell. I'm not the type of person to just make a ton of clothes for myself. I'm not interested in it. I love fashion designers because I want to buy their clothes. Being a designer is a person who designs, nothing more and nothing less. So to design, you have to have that momentum. It's an action word. So if you are a designer and you have the degree, or if you've previously wanted to be a designer and you've professed that you're a fashion designer, that comes from making the time to do the work. So how do we fix it? How do we make 2026 a better year than 2025 as far as creative output? The first obstacle you can get over is sketchbook, pencil. We can do a lot of things, but let's start at the basics. A sketch a day. It doesn't have to be a beautiful, full gown collection, fully rendered hair, hands, feet. It can just be an idea. And it doesn't even have to be an idea about fashion. It could literally be anything. When it comes to fashion design, I'm actually more inspired by art and architecture and paintings than I am anything else. So when I'm sketching, sometimes it's a flower motif or something that I thought was interesting and caught my eye. Sometimes it's just straight up practice because I don't necessarily trust my skills in general. So practice is practice. If you're the type that doubts yourself, I would say 2026 is just your year of consistency. Break it up into 4 quarters and just show up for yourself consistently in some way. For this year, I'm showing up daily and making sure that I'm in my studio doing some kind of work towards the collection. The last few months, I have worked tirelessly on filling my sketchbooks, making vision boards, making mood boards, collecting swatches, and over time, it's actually come to be something. And it's really cool to see that process happen. But on the first day, when I was in bed in my pajamas and just using double stick tape and just running through printer ink, it didn't feel like much. And it still kind of doesn't, but it's more than it was. It's a lot of hard work. And a lot of times we overanalyze how we can spend our day, how we can be more efficient, myself included, especially if you've seen my latest video. I am very meticulous about very particular things, but then I completely throw everything to the wayside when it comes to my creativity. So if you're a little bit like me, or maybe a lot like me, I want you to have the best 2026. And the best 2026 doesn't mean that you're competing with people online, that you're making 1,000 items just to say that you made them. It means that you're showing up for yourself. And here's to a year where we don't leave ourselves behind.